You can see is one of the new designs that my team came up with for Raw Motivation shirts. It's got the RM and then there's buffalo on it. And you're like, why in the world does RM have this buffalo on it? What does it actually mean? Well, it's because inside of some of what we teach, we talk about this concept of being the buffalo. Now, you're like, that might sound a little weird. Let me explain. When we talk about being the buffalo, there's a difference between buffaloes and cows and how they react to storms and things that they are afraid of. So what happens is you have storms that roll over the horizon or roll over the mountains and they move one direction. When they move one direction, cows see the storm, the lightning, the thunder, and they get scared. That's where you have these stampedes, or they're running away from the storm that's coming at them. Buffalo, on the other hand, do the exact opposite. They actually run straight into the storm. I'm not just making this up, you can look it up. It's a proven fact that actually talks about this. Buffalo run into the storm while cows run away from the storm. Now, why would we be using this phrase of be the buffalo when we're talking about healing and dealing with narcissistic abuse? Well, being the buffalo became this theme that we started to talk about inside of working with different people and working through a challenge that we had of, hey, in order to heal, instead of running away from the pain and instead of running away from what you're afraid to deal with or work through or mindsets that you're afraid to deal with, why don't we go through it? And not through it meaning you have to relive every single thing, but through it in the aspect of the longer you avoid the problem, the longer it'll be with you. Consider for a moment that when the storm comes over the horizon and the cow gets scared of it, the cow starts running away and the storm starts following the cow basically. It elongates the time that the cow is actually going to be in the storm that it doesn't want to be in. But oftentimes that's what it looks like inside of the healing world. People will see that they're in a toxic relationship and they'll avoid the reality of it. They'll try to explain it away, excuse it, and make themselves feel better that it's not that abusive. He's not actually hitting you. He's not actually doing X, Y, and Z. And they try to justify it, avoiding the reality that they're in a toxic relationship. Sometimes they do that inside the healing process. I don't want to deal with the trauma. Or I don't want to deal with what I'm thinking about myself. When oftentimes that's some of the very things that need to be dealt with in order to work through the pain and actually step into the healing. So inside of this, what we started to notice, what we started to talk about is this concept called be the buffalo. Meaning that, hey, we want you to actually face some of the things that's going on, to wake up to the reality that you're in a toxic relationship and start to walk through the storm. Now, walking through the storm of dealing with a toxic relationship, dealing with healing from a toxic relationship can be very, very scary, especially when you haven't done it before, when you haven't healed from it before and you're not sure how to be able to do this. So we actually start to teach people how to be able to process, how to be able to let go of the trauma bond. The trauma bond is that addictive piece that keeps you going back to the same guy over and over and over again. How many of you have seen that you've been in a loop or a cycle with the toxic guy that you're with? Maybe you've tried to leave and then you come back. Maybe he pushes you away and then he comes back. And you're wondering, I don't want this relationship. I don't like this relationship, but I still want this relationship and I still need this relationship. And it makes this confusion inside you that feels like an addiction, so that when you pull away, you almost have a withdrawal, that you have to keep going back to this guy, even if he's hurting you, even if he's making your life a living hell. We have to wake you up to the reality that you're in a toxic relationship and then help you heal from the trauma bond, help you actually break the addiction that you have to this toxic guy, which is not easy. We walk people through a process called the Freedom Formula, which is a very strategic way to help you understand what's underneath the surface. What's the subconscious programming that currently is you hardwired to go back to him? How do we actually change that? How do we actually work through that? Because if we don't help you rewire the subconscious programming, it's going to continue to have you go back to this guy over and over and over again. That part feels scary. That part feels extremely hard. The point of this is we want to be able to help you step into the healing and then be able to step back out. Step in, you're like, oh, I'm getting overwhelmed. Step back out. Step in and start processing a piece of it. That's too much. Step back out. Why? Because it's not going to help you just to force you walking through this. That's why I'm not talking about being the buffalo saying, run into the storm and just grit your teeth and bear your way through it. We're talking about this aspect of helping you actually heal, which means we need to help you break the trauma bond and we need to help you eradicate the triggers. The triggers are those emotional pieces that spike you, that spike your anxiety, that spike your stress, that dislocate you into what is going on a day-to-day basis. The triggers sideline you, they sideswipe you, they make a mess of your entire day, spin you out, keep you unfocused, keep you distracted. And the triggers and the trauma bond oftentimes are the two biggest things that are keeping you tied in a cycle. It's happening over and over and over inside of this relationship. The goal that I have for every single person that I work with, every single woman that comes saying, hey, I'm in a toxic relationship, is let's work on you getting free from the trauma bond, whether that's with or without him, it doesn't matter. The trauma bond can exist either way. Let's work on you getting you free from the trauma bond and eradicating the triggers, dealing with the emotions and processing it so he no longer has an emotional hold over you. That's the part of the healing journey. And the goal inside of this is helping you walk into the storm. If you don't actually run into the storm, if you don't work through, work through the process, the emotions, the feelings that are happening, if you don't be the buffalo and start walking into the storm of your healing, even no matter how uncomfortable it might be, then what you typically do is running away from the storm, which only elongates the time that you're in the pain. I see this all the time with people that want to heal really fast, that want to get better really fast. What they're typically doing is running away from the deep work. Running away from some of the stuff that needs to shift inside, that subconscious programming that I'm talking about that has to be rewired. They're like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to work on that. I don't want to get that deep inside of what's going on. I don't want to heal that piece of me. And oftentimes it just means that they stay stuck in a toxic relationship longer, or they stay stuck with him in their head longer. So I want you to consider today, are you in a toxic relationship that keeps cycling back and forth? You have this piece where you talk about be the buffalo and you're like, yeah, that's not me. I'm the one that's running away. I'm the one that's in the storm even longer. I'm the one that's fighting and to even deal with my own trauma because I don't want to deal with it. Inside of this, I want you to understand, if you resonate with what I'm saying, I want to help you walk through the storm. I partner with you inside of a challenge, a 6-week challenge called Survivor to Thriver. It's an opportunity for you to engage with me on a week-to-week basis inside of group coaching calls, but then also to provide tools, a community, and access to be able to shift your mindset and rewire the subconscious programming of what is actually happening in your life right now. If you're at a place where you feel confused, you have chaos, you feel overwhelmed in your life, and you feel stressed of like, I don't even know how to deal with this. I don't even know what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down, then this is for you. An opportunity for you to see and to understand that you don't have to stay trapped in a toxic relationship. Not mentally, not emotionally, not even physically. You don't have to stay stuck limiting your worth and shrinking your value of who you actually are. But instead you can learn how to exemplify and to live and to use out this phrase that I have here, not a phrase, but a picture of being the buffalo. Stepping into the storm of the things that you might not want to step into, knowing that on the other side, healing will actually come. Knowing that on the other side, you will see your worth, your value. Knowing that on the other side, your confidence and your certainty rise more than anything else in the entire world. Survivor to Thriver is a challenge that's been used by hundreds of women and several men that have come through that have dealt with a toxic relationship, that are trying to figure out, how do I actually heal from it? Inside of this, I'm going to teach you how to break the trauma bond, how to eradicate the triggers and deal with the emotions so that it doesn't lash out to other people and you don't have to stuff them inside anymore. I'm also going to provide online coaching, group coaching calls every single week while you work with us to help you actually heal, grow, and develop. If you decide to work with us long-term inside of our accountability structure, you're still going to have access to those calls, still have access to a community that's here to support you long-term, to help you heal, to help you grow, to help you change. Inside of all of this, it's extremely hard to be able to heal in isolation. It's even harder if you don't have support from people that actually understand you and see you for who you really are, despite everything that he says that you are. So question for you tonight is, are you the buffalo or are you running away from the storm? Which one is you? If you're at a place today that you realize you're no longer running and you're ready to change and shift your life, then I want you to comment down below, buffalo. And I'm going to send you a link for our course, 6-week challenge that you can work with me inside of Survivor to Thriver. If this is you and you resonate with this today, then it's time for you to take a step. Be the buffalo in this moment, drop a comment down below, and let's talk. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful evening. We'll see y'all next time.